Okay guys, Swiss Moist Dilani Python Dinada Sana. You're welcome to this session. In this session, we are going to cover all about SQL injection in Django. So I'll actually tell you what is the meaning of SQL injection in Django, what causes SQL injection vulnerability, what are the impacts of SQL injection vulnerability, and what are the mitigation or ways to fix it against the SQL injection, right? So it's actually going to be a full hands-on video, and I'll actually try to show you the impact an attacker can do, like editing of data in the database, dropping of tables, and the dropping of database once your Django web application is vulnerable to SQL injection. So get it prepared, alright. But if this is the first time for you to watch out my channel, don't forget to subscribe so as you can be timely updated once we upload a new video. So let's go. So I'll actually start by telling you what is SQL injection, right? As I told you in the introduction part that this is SQL injection specifically in Django, right? The idea I'm lecturing here won't help you if you're coding in CodeIgniter or Laravel, but it will actually light up your mind of what is happening behind SQL injection, right? So we're going to start with the definition. SQL injection is a vulnerability caused by the failure to sanitize user-supplied input, right? When you take an user input and directly use it to construct your query, and these queries are being executed on database, you're actually exposing your vulnerability against the SQL injection. So the idea is failure to sanitize user-supplied input, right? Okay, so I'll actually not code anything, but I'll actually show you some codes. Okay, part 1 of code, I'll actually show you the code which are vulnerable to SQL injection in Django, and the part 2 is the piece of code which can actually prevent against the SQL injection. But before we go there, I'll actually show you a demonstration of what things work. Okay, so this is actually a simple Django page which take user ID and display the username. Okay, I can show you here the code. Okay, so this is a Django view which takes ID from get method, then after it use the ID, okay, supplied by user, that is user input, to create to create a SQL query, right? Something like this. So let us try out. So if we put ID 1, you can see user is full bar, the username is full bar, and here this is table. Okay, here you can see this user with ID 1 is full bar. Okay, what if we try to put so when we put ID is equal to 2, it will actually return Doe. This is John Doe. Okay, so in most cases where the user supplied is dynamic, user can put a certain input and it actually affects the output. The output is dynamic based on user input. Attacker will actually try to put some malicious query here to see if attacker can tamper with the database. As I told you that I'm actually not going to show you exactly what hackers do. I know they are using Linux. I don't know, they're using Linux tools to exploit SQL injection, but I'll actually not go there because this is not a hacking class. This is the Django development class. But I'll show you some tricks. Okay. I think it's clear about the meaning of SQL injection. So what is impact of SQL injection? Okay, so if you have developed a web application which is vulnerable to SQL injection, attacker can directly manipulate your data in the database. can drop tables, can edit info. So let me show you a simple demonstration of how hacker can do. Okay, if we refresh here, you can see here full bar is super user. No, 0 means that full bar is not super user. Okay, but if your web application is vulnerable to SQL injection, a user can update his or her information to become a super user. And when cybersecurity comes into a picture, that we call privilege escalation. So normal user can escalate privilege from normal user to admin if your web application is vulnerable to SQL injection. So let's try to make it, full bar super user. Okay. So let us copy this. You can see here on query update auth user set is super user true, where username is full bar. Okay, we have seen that when we put one, right? When we put one, we get the username is full bar. So we want to update to make user full bar from normal user to become a super user in Django. Okay, okay, all right, guys. So let us come here and refresh. You will see 1 here. Okay, previous it was 0. Boom, you can see 1. Okay, so this is an impact of SQL injection. Okay, this is an impact. Attackers can drop table, can edit the information. Here there is a table based product. Attacker can drop the table. Okay, attacker can pass something like this to drop the table. Here there is a table based product. Okay. I hope you get the picture of what is the I guess something. Okay. Okay, so we can see drop table based product. If you see here there is a table based product. What if we refresh here? Boom, you can see there is no table. Okay, so can you see how critical is SQL injection when a development comes into a picture, when a web development comes into a picture? We usually insist developers to sanitize, user supplied input, to use parameterized query so as to have a secure web application. Assume that basic product is a table which contains the product of your institution, the product of your company. Okay, but the worst thing, attacker can drop even table user to make anybody not to log into a system. Okay, so that is how hackers can exploit. This is one way. There are different ways, as I told you, that hackers are using different hacking tools in Linux, but I was actually showing you, oh Jesus, I was actually trying to show you the impact. Okay, we have seen attacker can drop table, attacker can drop the database. Okay, attacker can edit, can do anything, can update, can do whatever he wants. Okay, so what actually as a Django developer should not do? Okay, first of all, do not use string interpolation. Okay, if you get user input, some people are using, this is actually called the string interpolation. Okay, you string, percentage string, then single quote, then you put ID or something to user supply the input. So do not use this. Okay, what string interpolation is what has been done here. Okay, so keep you in mind that do not use this. It will actually make your web application vulnerable to SQL injection. Another thing, so if you do something like this, it will create something like this. Okay, or 1 is equal to 1. So another thing you should not do is not use string concatenation. Don't use something like this, because this ID will, directly execute in your SQL query. Okay, so if attacker pass malicious input, it will actually directly, execute. So when attacker do something like this is like, when attacker do like this, means after finishing the first query, begin the second query. Okay, something like that. So what should you do as the Django web developer? You actually need to use parameterized queries. Okay, so here you can see, select from author user, put ID, okay, put percentage sign and S. Do not double quote, do not single quote this. Okay, then after cursor.execute pass SQL query and pass the parameters. So the placeholder, which is percentage %s in a query, does not get replaced by raw user input. Instead, parameter is passed separate to the database, which knows how to safely include in query. Okay, so when you use parameterized queries, the database itself, it will separate between query and the data, and it will actually make sure these parameters are being sanitized. Okay, so even if ID contains something malicious, the database engine treats it as a data. Okay, so this will be treated as a data and not SQL query. Even so, not executable SQL query, thus preventing against SQL injection. I hope that's clear. So we'll comment this part, which is actual vulnerable to SQL injection, and I'll actually show you how you can use parameterized query, okay, in the Django. Okay, so I'll uncomment this, right? That's perfect. As I told you that we are using this placeholder, okay, for user supplied input without single quote. Then after we are using .execute, we pass SQL query and the parameter. We know that the database, if we tell the database this is parameter, it knows how it can sanitize it. So by saying so, let's try to update. Okay, let me edit user John Doe. Let me put user John Doe as normal user, not a super user. Then after we'll try to use the same trick we have used, okay, previous. Okay, let us copy it and let's say we want to perform privilege escalation or to edit the object of user foobar. Okay, we want to update the object is super user. Okay, so let's do something like this. So press enter. Once we refresh our database, is super user will still remain 0. Boom, you can see it is 0. Even if we try to drop any table here, it won't work because we are actually using parameterized query, and this is the way, a recommended way, how the Django developer can prevent against SQL injection. I hope you have understood very clear. Put your comment below. Let me know what is your experience when preventing your Django web application. If you're writing manual query, because when you're using Django ORM, something like that, user.objects.whatever, that is in behind the scene sanitizing the user input. But if you're using manual query in Django, this is a perfect way to prevent your web application against SQL injection. What is your experience? Have you ever coded a Django web application which is vulnerable to SQL injection? Please share your comment. But don't forget to like, put comment, share, and subscribe. Before I close up this session, let me thank you in 8 if not 9 different international languages. Thank you so much. Asante sana. Muchas gracias. Muito obrigado. Merci beaucoup. Kamza Hamida. Aita. Danke and Denawad. Those are the 9 different international language. How do you say thanks in your language? Put a comment below, guys. Thank you. I hope to see you in the coming tutorials.